Come make some thrifty updates with me. I got a new trinket that I need to put away on my trinket shelf today. I have this little jewelry snap that I have an idea for, and is the reason I purchased it. I have some artwork that I would like to frame using this vintage frame and mat, and something needs to be done about this coffee filter canister. And why don't we start there? I have everything decorated in oranges and yellows for pre-autumn, but my husband got a new coffee pot that requires filters. For the time being, I put them in a canister. Oh, and many of you said I should have these grapes hanging off a little bit, so I'm going to fix that real quick. But back to the canister. Let's grab it because I have an idea. I think it just needs a little color. So I'm going to head to my craft closet, and yes, I agree with you guys, the to be put away bag needs some attention. But I'm here to grab the ribbon container. Since I have everything decorated in oranges and yellows, let's find a ribbon that matches. The yarn would look really cute, but it doesn't really fit with the kitchen vibe. And so then when I found this is kind of what I had in mind. I thought I would just take this little ribbon and tie it in a couple of knots around the handle. It looks very cute. Let's add it back to the shelf. And that is the perfect little touch that helps it blend in. Much more cohesive now. It's the little details, you guys. And speaking of little details, let's put away this snow owl. Here is my trinket shelf, and it is very full, but I did recently move a few dice so I could open up a shelf. I thought this owl would fit here, but it was a little tall. It does fit on the one just below that, so I'm going to swap the items. Now with those items moved up, it fits on this shelf perfectly. It's like a little den. I don't love that there's two owls right next to each other, but also maybe they could be friends. Overall, the shelf looks really good, and I love the addition. Now onto this little snap piece. It does go to a jewelry set of some sort, and when I saw it, I had an idea. I had used this little purse for decor to put this little plant in. However, when I folded it, I exposed the snap. When I saw this jewelry piece, I thought it would fit in there perfectly and add to the decor. Even though they were the right size, they weren't snapping, and so I had to look, and unfortunately, it's just a different type of snap. But that is nothing that my sticky dots can't fix. And they just so happen to be the exact right size. So I put the sticky dot on there, and it fit perfectly. It adds that little touch, and I love it. Again, it's the little things, guys. Now maybe I should go back and get the other colors. I could swap it out for seasons. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I found this How to Paint book, and I absolutely loved the sample paintings. This one was an absolute favorite of mine, as well as this one. Even the texture of the pages is gorgeous. I knew I wanted to frame at least one of them for this season. So when I found this frame and mat, I thought it was perfect. Unfortunately, the sample painting was a little bit narrow, so I was going to have to use the mat. Once I took it apart, I was very glad to see it was the kind that folds, so I can just slide that picture in. It tore out very easily, and I really liked the way that it looked in the mat, but it was a little matchy-matchy. Just to make sure that this was the right art piece, I went ahead and grabbed the teal one again just to make sure I liked the other one better. I do love this piece. It's very mid-century, but I think with this particular mat, this one looks better. Now that I had made a decision, I went ahead and put the frame all back together. I had a couple of ideas of where I might put it for now. The most obvious area without big artwork is this area right here, but I do have the Hummel and my records that kind of serve as artwork. So I thought I would try to work it into this picket fence area, and it looks better on camera because in person I was like, absolutely not. There's something about it also that complemented this kitchen area. I loved it on the counter, but it just didn't fit the kitchen vibe. Maybe I need to play around with it a little bit more, but it's definitely something I want to work into Thanksgiving and fall decor. So stay tuned. Thanks for coming along, guys.
Come thrifting with me. Today I am traveling to one of my kids' events, and I just so happened to be going by the Salvation Army. A couple of weeks ago I visited, so I'm not sure what kind of turnover they have. I usually don't make it here, but every like 6 months or so. So it might be a lot of the same things, but I ran out of time to dig, and so this will give me a chance to look at things a little closer. Let's get to it.
At least today I had remembered to bring both of my baskets. Even though I plan on using a cart, this will help carrying out my items much easier. They didn't have their Christmas stuff out and their fall stuff was very picked over. But they were having a sale, 50% off of yellow tags and 75% off of kitchenware. I started off at the counter. I really liked this ring. It's right up my alley, but it was a little bit tight and a little too small, so I decided to leave it for someone else. The last time I saw this gal, I said that she was alone as a caroler. You guys suggested I paint her for Halloween, but I just don't trust that I'd do a good job, so I had to leave her. As well as this bear that kind of feels kind of creepy Halloween. I have a rings and things container. I've never seen a traveling one though, and I thought it was really interesting. I'm curious what this design is. It almost looks like an old alarm clock. I happened to look up and I saw this brass piece. You guys know I'm not super into this crackle glass look, but I love the brass holder. It was only 99 cents and yellow tags are half off today, so only 50 cents. I had to grab it for the brass part at least. I headed over to the frames. I have always had a lot of luck here with picture frames. This one was only 79 cents and it has a mat, which I have been looking for my picture ledge, so I was excited about that one. Here is another that is a large 8x10 and it's also 79 cents. Then I saw this black candle holder or tulip holder. That is what I hope to use it for. It was only 49 cents and again, half off today. And so for Halloween decor, I think it's going to work and I couldn't leave it behind because what a great price. Even if I just put pumpkins on each of the holders, I think it would be really cute. I decided to continue looking through some of the frames. I've come up with a few projects that I could use frames for. And I just want to switch out some of the newer looking ones that I have at home. My picture ledge will use a certain number, but if I do end up with too many, I have mentioned that I will just share them with you guys. I'm also hopeful that eventually I can have different frames for each season and then I don't have to switch out the pictures. I can just store the whole frame together. I have also been hoping to find a lot of mats for my frames, and so I was happy to find two. These orangish red labels are kind of hard to see. I don't remember what all the prices were, but I can tell you that nothing here was more than 99 cents. The majority of them were 79 and 49. I really couldn't believe how many pieces I was finding when I was just here a couple of weeks ago. But I ended up with a pretty good stack of 5x7s and 8x10s. There was a pretty large dirty frame, and after looking at it for a while, I just decided it was worth cleaning up. And it was 99 cents. And a mat that is the exact same size, what a deal. That was 79 cents. Before leaving the frames, I saw one more, and it just looked a little bit too early 2000s for me, so I decided to leave that one behind. I had the time today to go through the vinyls. I was excited to see a Beatles album right on top. It was, of course, a reprint from 2014, but albums are 10 cents and it is a Beatles album. So I had to grab that one. 10 cents is an unheard of cost for vinyl records, especially when you're finding original Beatles albums. And just like last time, the ones that were laying on top were clearly the newest that had been donated. And so there were some really good ones in here. I quickly snatched up REO Speedwagon's album as well as both of the Beatles albums. And I went back to that top pile to see if there was anything else. I love CCR, but I don't for some reason have any of their albums. So their greatest hits was an absolute yes. But I continued to find even more albums, so come back for part 2. Come thrifting with me. This is part 2 of a trip to the Salvation Army where they have fantastic prices. Here is a reminder of what I have in my cart, including some albums that are only 10 cents. I had time to dig today though, so I continued my search. I have learned that the ones that were laid on top are the newest arrivals, and so those are usually the best ones. Here is what I found. I got Neil Diamond, I love him, and I just saw a movie preview for Song Sung Blue, so how fitting. And of course, a Chipmunk Christmas. Us millennials just love the Hula Hoop song. It was a 1981 album. I had to grab that. Also for millennials, Full House made us full-blown Beach Boys fans. I have this exact Three Dog Night album. I love them, but mine is very worn, and this one's in much better shape, so I grabbed it. I'm also a fan of the Monkees, as you guys know, and so I grabbed 2, including the greatest hits, and I looked at the songs, and they truly are their greatest hits. There were also 2 albums of The Animals. Getting both is maybe a little overkill, but when they are 10 cents a piece, I cannot pass them up. Besides, the best of The Animals includes my 2 favorite songs, of course, The House of the Rising Sun and Boom Boom. I've never heard them on vinyl, so I'm very excited about that. After searching through a couple of the ones that stood up, I found a lot of gospel albums, including Elvis's How Great Thou Art, so I grabbed his. I lost count, but I think I got 14 in total. I think these are also new arrivals, but a lot of Osmonds and Donny Osmond, and I'm a little bit beyond that generation, so I left those for someone else. There were even more frames. I really liked the style of this frame. It had the wire in the back, very mid-century, but someone had painted it at some point, and it's hard to tell on here, especially with my phone trying to focus, but it was a very sloppy job, so I decided to leave those. In the office area, however, I found this piece. It's interesting. I'm not really sure what it's originally meant for, but I think it could be really great for my husband's office and office supply storage, so I grabbed it for $1.49. I looked through the cassettes very quickly. There wasn't anything that really jumped out at me. This one was Johnny Cash, but it was also another artist that I wasn't familiar with, so I left it for someone else. Over in the kitchen items, though, I saw this pot lid sorter or even plate sorter I got for the kitchenette. And it's becoming obvious to me that I need more silverware organization. And so for 79 cents, I got this one. It's a little dirty, but it does clean up. Here is another one that I think is meant for office supplies, but again, I will use it for the kitchenette. And it's even better because it has bigger slots that are more universal. And then I was reminded that it's all 75% off. What a good deal. I loved this clock. I decided to grab it, but it was $9.99, which is uncharacteristically high for this place. So I did have to leave it behind. I already have one. Then I found this blue tulip for 49 cents. I don't have this color blue, and I always have a pastel one I'm trying to work in. This one will be perfect. I will have to clean that candle out though. Then I saw a class of 2000 wrapping paper still unopened. I don't have any friends or family that graduated that year. Otherwise, I would have grabbed it. And before checking out, I grabbed this shell necklace for vacations because I'm a different person on vacation. The type to wear shell necklaces, in fact. And of course, the day I bring my baskets, I buy all this awkwardly shaped stuff that doesn't quite fit right. But that's okay. It made it easier to carry. And I only spent $9.32, guys. I would have paid that for just the albums. Thanks for coming along. Here's some items that you'll always see in my home. Lots of brass. So that means candlesticks or brass trays, large serving trays, or brass plant holders. I have an affinity for big brass lamps as well as small lamps. Really, brass anything, like mirrors or vases or even wall hangings. Even brass birds. And with that, you're going to see some faux greenery. I have a hard time keeping real plants alive, so I incorporate greenery whenever I can. Some of it looks real and some of it does not. There's something about that dark green or even light green that adds a lot of depth to an area. My favorite are the ones that spill out over the sides of their vessel. I think picks overall are just kind of underrated. They add so much to a space. I have real plants too, but I'll never tell which ones. I'm also obsessed with amber glass. It doesn't even matter if it's a candy dish or a dusty candle holder, a lantern, or a tulip. If it is amber, I am going to grab it. It is quite possibly my favorite color to decorate with. From a curtain pole all the way to an amber hen. Something else I can't resist are vintage clocks. The gold face ones are my favorite, but they all work. This one even plugs in. Some are meant for traveling, while others are meant to sit on the nightstand. And all of them glow in the dark. You'll also find in my home the everything is art concept. So that means vintage magazine covers and tourism souvenirs, blank greeting cards, pictures and paintings from vintage how to paint magazines. Those come in all different sizes and shapes. Vintage stamps for little frames, vintage advertisements from old magazines, my kids' artwork, and of course, vintage postcards. I can't forget my vinyl record covers and even TV trays that are broken. I also love books, but I love styling with them as well. They're great for risers as well as pops of color for certain areas. They can be used to highlight certain decor items or create a more cohesive look. Sometimes they are used just for stability or to weigh a certain decor item. They can be used to anchor small items, or the cover can serve as art. Something else I'm drawn to is birds. Bird artwork, bird plant holders, bird candles, even just little trinket ones like this small quail. Bird pins and perfume bottles, cookie jars, brass owl bells. Did I mention I like owls a little bit? And even a chicken in your kitchen for good luck. And my last obsession are small shelves. That could be trinket shelves, hung vertically or horizontally, small wall shelves to highlight my small items, thimble shelves, or just dual sets of shelves in different spaces to highlight all of my favorite decor pieces. You truly can't have too many shelves. Now that you've seen mine, what are your Hallmark pieces? Come decorate my kitchenette with me now that the countertops are in. And when they installed those, they also installed our sink. It's 18 by 18, which is the perfect wet bar sink. I love the gold so much, and my husband went ahead and put the faucet on even though the water's not hooked up yet. For countertops, we decided to go ahead and move forward with quartz, but I got that vintage look I feel like is very 1970s. The backsplash still needs done. I am planning on subway tile with brown grout, and the fridge and the microwave are going to be wrapped in vinyl. We have some friends that specialize in this, and so we are going to get it wrapped in this beautiful olive green. I cannot wait. But since I am so impatient, let's decorate these shelves today. I've only been saving up decor forever. Let's start with this book holder. It is gorgeous. I got it at an estate sale. My original idea was I was going to put it on top of the fridge. I thought this gap was going to be bigger. We were able to increase that cabinet size, so I'm going to put it on the shelf. I have slowly been collecting vintage cookbooks to display here. A lot of the 1960s and 70s cookbooks are microwave focused, but I have a lot of Jell-O ones as well. Another popular topic of the 60s was fondue. Mostly I just love the covers. I even have this 1960s Betty Crocker that has a spiral bound. It's adorable. To fill in that blank space, I decided to use this masher, and it almost went awry. I don't know what I was thinking, but man, it hit that ceiling so hard, I'm lucky I didn't punch a hole through it. Moving on and pretending that didn't happen, I have these taller books that wouldn't fit on the shelf, so I'm going to lay them down. They will serve as a riser while that back plate adds that pop of green. Luckily, I have lots of golden plate holders, and that's going to hold this beautiful orange plate. Or maybe it's a spoon rest. I also have these tiny olive green trays that I'm going to use to prop up this instant coffee pot. Over in the corner, I'm going to put this golden yellow pitcher. I'm not going to fill it with anything right now. We will use it for Moscow mules and stuff like that. Next to it, I wanted to display one of my plates. Only the small one would fit, but I think it looks great. On the bottom shelf, I'm going to put my vintage kitchen scale, a trivet for texture, and this brown detailed bowl. Since this can double as a storage space, I'm going to put these vintage bamboo coasters in there, and that way they're easy to store and easy to find. Very 60s. I absolutely love them. We don't plan to cook in this space, but when we host items, it's right off of our game room, so we do plan to bring food to this space or keep some items in the fridge. Therefore, I am going to have lots of dishes, and that includes some of these vintage bowls. These are not all that I have, but I did want to display a couple of them. The rest will go in the cabinet so we can use them. To add an additional texture, I am going to include this wooden bowl, and on top of that, this green creamer pitcher. It did look a little empty and unfinished, so I'm going to add this faux air plant. I love how they curl because it curls over the edges of the creamer dish. Another book that was too tall is this Cooking for Two. I wanted to bring in this bright orange color, and that helps tie in this Tupperware piece. I could certainly use it for Tupperware or storage, but for now I'm going to use it as a riser to display this butter dish that matches my dishes set. And again, yes, this is something I will use, and it's not just for decor. Next, I thrifted this beautiful pedestal. It is gorgeous in person, and I'm going to use it to display these green melamine dishes. Aside from the other glass dishes, I have collected quite a bit of melamine. These will also be used, and this is not all of them. The rest is stored in the cabinet. I have 2 different sizes of plates and then bowls. On top of that, I'm going to put this vintage timer. I thought it was older, but it turns out it is only 1997. It is Pyrex, but it has that cream 70s vibe. For the last space, I'm going to add another Tupperware container that is that bright orange. This again will be a great storage space for me, as well as this vintage ice bucket. As you can tell, I am a fan of stacking. And that is how the 2 shelves look. I love how it is coming along. I can't wait to wrap the 2 appliances, get that tile up, and continue to decorate the countertop. So be sure to come back for updates. Come decorate my kitchenette with me even more. Things are coming right along with the kitchenette renovation, and yesterday I decorated these shelves. Today I am going to decorate the countertop and some other spaces. Other things that are left in this renovation, I plan on covering both the fridge and microwave in an olive green vinyl and doing a subway tile backsplash with brown grout. That will certainly liven up this area, but let's go ahead and decorate the countertop because I'm impatient. As a reminder, we have already installed our 18 by 18 gold sink and the faucet, although the water's not quite hooked up yet. Nevertheless, let's go ahead and add this vintage Tupperware that I think was used for salad dressing. I'm going to use it for dish soap. I do plan on washing a lot of cups and glasses in this space. For the other side, I'm going to use this dish, and I plan on putting a sponge or scrub brush in there. I just got to find the right one that fits the vibe. I love that green, and I've been trying to work more of it into this space. Over in the other corner, I'm going to start out with this bamboo tray. It really helps with making things look more cohesive. Even though this is just a kitchenette and not a full kitchen, I still need a crock for all of our utensils. I have collected quite a few vintage utensils from the 60s and 70s, and so I am planning on displaying all of those. Some of them will be actively used for hosting in this space, and then some are just too cute and special that I'm just going to display them. There's even a wooden spoon in there that's probably a little bit older than mid-century. I was excited to add some tans, some yellows, that bright orange, and of course, the olive greens. After arranging those how I want them, I am going to slide it back to the corner. Next to that, of course, we have to do a mug rack. I have a lot, but I chose 4 that I liked the most. This one is from Mickey's Diner in Minnesota, as seen on Mighty Ducks. My sister and I are obsessed. I have a vintage Mount Rushmore mug and this mushroom one that, again, looks a little phallic, but it's super cute. I had to have that one facing out. And again, just to define spaces, I like to use risers or, in this case, trivets. I will add some wooden coasters that have had some love over the years and a salt and pepper shaker. I love the drawn-on pepper and salt markers, so I decided to leave them. So that is how it is looking so far. In the appliance areas, there are a couple of gaps between the cabinet and the appliance. So I thrifted these 2 baskets to set on top of the microwave, and they can function for us. In the yellow one, I decided to add popcorn. That is why I wanted a microwave in this space. We are a big movie family, big popcorn family, and so my kids can just pop popcorn by the game room and not have to go to the kitchen. And since I'm not full-blown doing dishes down here, we're also going to have a lot of paper supplies. So those can be easily accessed, and all those stickers will come off once it gets wrapped. As for above the fridge, I thrifted these 2 baskets. They are the perfect height. As I mentioned in another video, this space is not meant for cooking, but it will be for hosting, and so I plan to bring food items to this area. With that, I'm going to have lots of hot pan holders to protect our countertops. Do I have too many? Absolutely, but I just love them, and I absolutely love the Celtic knot ones. This one was even dated in 1977. I think that even is more special. And the yellow rose, oh, just so beautiful. Those baskets fit perfectly side by side above the fridge. So that is today's updates. Make sure you come back to see the wrapped fridge and microwave. Oh, and the tile. Thanks, guys. Come put some thrift finds away with me. I love to thrift, but I love to style, store, and organize my thrift finds even more. So let's get to it. Let's start out with a fun one. I got these small dice at a flea market, and I'm going to put them on my trinket shelf. My shelf is very full, and so I've been filling in these smaller spaces. This particular one, I was trying not to cover up the scissors, but put something there, and I think these dice are perfect. And the train is growing on me, I think. Next up, I bought this bread cover. My sister does sourdough, and I thought maybe I could work on a project for her for maybe Christmas, and so I'm going to add this to the rest of my stitchery items. It's not exactly Aida cloth, but it is for cross stitching, so I'm going to put it with the rest of the Aida cloth. I better get on it if I'm going to have these done before Christmas. All these items are within reach of me when I'm watching TV. Next, let's grab these 2 items that I'm going to make into magnets. The bow was once a pin, and I'm not sure about the little frame. I like to make magnet galleries, and this yellow one might be a good addition. Over in my desk area, I do have an area I recently organized to add my magnets to. Here is where I keep all of my actual magnets and the items I'm going to make into magnets. The little frame will be a 4th of July magnet, so I'm going to save that one for later. To work on the little bow, I'm going to get my glue gun out of the craft closet, but I'm also going to take these little lace ribbons. I like to use those to wrap gifts. I also have these pre-made bows, but I'm going to put those somewhere else. In my craft closet, I keep all of my ribbon, and yes, the to be put away bag is so ready to be put away. So look for that video this week. I usually keep all of my ribbon in this tote in different colored bags, but for the time being, I'm going to add it to the to be put away bag. I grab my glue gun, and while it's heating up, let's move on to these bows. I think I'm going to use them for my mid-century Christmas gift station. In the garage, I could put them in the new to be put away box, which is mostly my kids' stuff, but this tote is so easy to access, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in the Christmas overflow tote. I try to make all of my holiday totes accessible. Next, I have this, I think it's a meat fork. But I think it might work in the kitchenette for olives or pickles. But first I need to wash it. I won't soak it for long because of the wooden handle. Another item that goes in the craft closet is this vintage wrapping paper. I love the print. It reminds me of like a vinyl kitchen chair. Back to the craft closet, I have an area where I keep gifts, tissue paper, and gift bags. And occasionally I'll also get rolls of wrapping paper. This one will just get added to the bunch that hangs on the wall, and it fits perfectly. Before moving to my magnets, let's go ahead and put away this Christmas Vacation Blu-ray. My new Doris Day vinyl also goes in a similar area. When I get new vinyls, I usually put them in this magazine rack so I can listen to them right away. However, Doris Day is really red, and I'm probably going to put her out at Valentine's, so I'm going to put her with my other vinyls. It works out that it's also near where I keep my DVDs. Now that she's filed away, let's get into my holiday DVDs. This is where I keep the movies I am planning to watch that I borrowed from my sister. Here's some other ones that I plan on watching soon, and here are the unused sleeves. Otherwise, I keep my Halloween movies here and my Christmas movies. I'll give Vacation its own sleeve and then put it alphabetically. I still need to label them. As for the case, I am in the process of going through those and seeing if I want to get rid of them. Now let's get back to the magnet. The glue gun is heated up, so let's glue on our magnet. It just needed a small one, and I wiped off the excess. There's a lot of yellow, so I think I'm going to put it to the bottom left. So here's the before, and here's the after. I love it, even though I can't believe I missed that I still have my August stuff up. I will get on that. Another item I thrift very often are greeting cards. I get all of my birthday cards thrifted. I needed more masculine cards, so I'm going to add them to my adult birthday area. As soon as I filed it, I realized it was a little tall. The golfing one is definitely going to be too tall. And when that happens, I just file them on their side to the right. And that works. The last item is this purse that I got at an estate sale. I did just wipe it with a damp rag since it is real leather. Let's head to the primary bedroom and to the primary closet to hang it up. I recently cleaned out my purses, but you can see they're kind of getting out of hand again. I added a couple of bags, but there's still an open hook for this one right here. It's so cute. And that's all for today. Thanks for coming along, guys.